hello everybody. I'm Meredith Aguiar. I've been the Datalink project manager since 2011. We created Datalink from scratch. So just a show of hands really quick, how many have actually used the Datalink reporting tool? Okay, so about half, that's good. Okay, so half of you guys have used it. The other half are gonna learn a little bit on how to run your reports. We're gonna cover your appropriation summary by project, so how to look up your project expenditures by phase, by fund type, by program element, component, and task. We're going to look, today we're going to talk about the CAS-CAM, how to find your CAS-CAM in Datalink and all those notes that go on with project control setup. We're going to cover encumbrances by vendor, so what task orders and what contracts does my project have encumbrances and expenditures on. I believe we're going to cover a little bit of labor charges today for who's charging my project, how many hours, things like that. So we have 4 different step-by-step guides that we're going to cover with you guys today. So I know it's after lunch, so just bear with us. I know sometimes in the afternoon it gets a little tiring and exhausted after listening to everything, but I'm really hoping that today you guys are going to at least learn how to use the new tools. I'm going to introduce Nikki Tran. She is going to be taking over Datalink, the day-to-day operations of Datalink. I did get not a promotion, but a lateral transfer to District 12 2 weeks ago. So I just started in District 12, and she's going to take over the Datalink help desk. So anytime you guys have any questions about Datalink, you can send it directly to the Datalink help desk, and that's in our PowerPoint presentations as well. And then you can get to Nikki directly. She can do one-on-one training. She does group trainings with teams. So after today, don't feel like, oh my gosh, what did they tell me? I don't remember anything. It's okay. You're not going to remember everything, and you're going to be able to get to Nikki to go over reports again that are going to be helpful for you in your day-to-day project. So with that, I'm going to introduce Nikki. She has been my backfill since August of last year, and she's learning how to do this academy. So welcome, Nikki. And she's been really great. She came from maintenance and traffic and admin, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, I first started at Caltrans within the Division of Budgets, and then I went over to administration program as a resource budget manager. So I oversaw District 7 through 12. And then I went over to traffic operations, and then I worked on dashboards over there, the Tableau dashboards. And then after that, I decided to go back to resource management. So I went over to the maintenance program. And then as of last year, end of August, I'm currently the Datalink project manager.
And a little bit of Fiscal as we're starting to transition to Fiscal as well. So because it's afternoon, we're going to also try to keep you guys engaged a little bit more. We're going to have trivia at the end of our session, and you're going to get to win some really cool prizes. So we've got some really cute pens. We've got these little keychains and some little notebooks. So we have about 8 questions, I think, at the end. So just to try to keep you guys awake, and or try to get you guys out of here before 5, I promise. So, all right, Nikki, take it away.
Yeah, so I'm going to go over a couple housekeeping items. So the first thing I want to go over is the coding manual. So from on-ramp, navigate to districts, divisions, and programs, and then scroll down to accounting. So you can follow along, or you can just listen. So you select accounting, and and then we have these tiles here. So the 4th tile called user guides manuals. You can select that. And we're going to go down to coding manual. And for chapter 5, object codes. Oh, sorry. Do you want me to go back? Okay. So let me go back. Okay, so the main page are accounting. And then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles. User guides manuals. So you select that. And then if you scroll down to coding manual, and then chapter 5, object codes. So we have under matrix, under object codes by object class, select that and then it'll download to Excel file. And then just open it. So this spreadsheet, okay. It provides like your object class and object codes. So object class is a roll-up of all of these object codes. So if you're trying to figure out like, what should I be charging? Or what does object class 11 is? Here's just a spreadsheet of like what each object class is and then what object codes are under each object class. And then let's take object code 044, for example, general expense. So I recommend going back to this page, the division accounting object codes page. And if we scroll down to table 1-2, we're trying to look for object code 044. So these represents object codes. So you'll click on the second link here, 041, 089, and then it will download to another Word document. And then open it up. So this will open up a Word document. And right now we're trying to look for 044. Like what does it cover and what doesn't it cover? So here I'll show you like a description of what general expense is, and then all the items that covers, and then also what it doesn't cover. So kind of help you like figure out like what object code should you be charging.
Also, when you're running your project reports, you're going to see all of these, right? You're going to see object code 44, 47. You're like, what is that? What is this charged by project? Did they buy? This helps you kind of identify, this is a big general expense. Like, 632. Somebody purchased some IT equipment. So when you're running your project reports, it helps. Did you guys hear what I said?
Oh, gotcha. Okay. What I was saying is when you see your object codes in your project reports, that's why she wants to show you too, is that you're going to be able to see these numbers and you're not going to know what those numbers mean. This is a really great tool to be able to see, well, what is this number that's showing up on my project reports, and in detail, what was purchased potentially, and what is it covering. That was what I was saying. So thank you.
Somebody have any questions or? Okay. So back to the accounting main page. So if you're wondering like, about SB1, like what are considered SB1 programs, let's go back. It's under accounting bulletins. And then it's by fiscal year. So we're currently in fiscal year 24-25. And if you scroll all the way down to AB 2501, this is the SB1 coding structure for fiscal year 24-25. So you click on it, it'll show you like the SB1 program by fund number, program, and appropriation codes. So if you're wondering like, okay, the active transportation, it's in programs for capital outlay support and local assistance. And then there's freeway service patrol. These are all SB1 programs. Did you want to add something?
Okay, so for this matrix, so when you guys are doing project control setup, a lot of times you're setting up your codes with these coding, And we have in Datalink, we have the SB1 labels. So if you were to run a report, and we'll show you later, oh, project ID 5XXX, it is set up as a shop SB1 project, or it's set up as a TCEF program corridor SB1. So it's just a label that we use the accounting bulletin. But if you ever see a label in Datalink and you don't know what the coding that goes with it, this is the bulletin that decides how that project got set up as an SB1. And sometimes projects are split, right, between two different programs, right, even two SB1 programs. So that's all what this matrix is doing. Okay.
Okay. And then I think you mentioned, someone was asking about ICRP. So you can find it here as well on the main page of accounting. So in indirect cost rate, this link is here. So it breaks out like, these are non-self-help counties for reimbursed work. So for aeronautics, it's 44% for program functional. Administrative is 33.49% with a total of 77.53% for billing rate. And then this is self-help counties reimbursed work. And then summary of ICRP exceptions. And these are self-help county agency needs. So, does anyone have any questions? Okay. So, everyone has access to Datalink as long as you have an S number. So if you have a P number, you just make a request. We also have a link here, Datalink page help. So if you don't have access, if you're like a student assistant, then you could request access here. So if you click this link here, that is opens up a link and it sends it directly to Datalink Help Desk, and it just provide their P number, and it will provide access to Datalink. Or you just email this datalink.helpdesk@ut.ca.gov directly. Sorry, let me go back to the county website. And down to Datalink.
We have our own help page on the accounting website. So she went to the left-hand navigation. If you scroll halfway down, do you see where it says reports and then click Datalink? There's some additional resources that you can click on. That's where she went. There you go.
So here we have the data dictionary. So if you click to data dictionary, it links you directly to Datalink, to this page here. And then there's a drop down that you click on. And then you could, like, if you're curious, like, I wonder if there's encumbrances for what pages I could do for projects, for example. So you do fields by page field, and then you could put in project, PROJ. And then it'll have a whole list of like where all the projects are. I didn't want to put the total like PROJECT because like right here, for example, there's major projects. It doesn't have, it won't pull this field in. So this will take you directly to this page if you hover it over. If you want the general accounting disbursement document summary, and then you click here, it'll take you directly to that page. And then next to it just has like, if you want to just know like more about the page, you click on view page details. And it will have the page details, the page title, additional attributes, and you can collapse it by clicking here. And down here it has like all the fields, the field descriptions, and then like and the definition of each field. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. So now, okay. I'll start on the handouts. Yes, CAS-CAM first.
Okay, so the handouts you guys got, if you want to pull out your CAS-CAM, we're going to go step by step and walk you guys through it. So we're going to go a little bit slower so you can kind of follow along. Raise your hand if you get lost, and then I can walk around and kind of help you guys keep up a little bit. It's called the CAS-CAM project setup. Is there a handout for CAS-CAM?
How-to guide for
CAS-CAM
project funding profile.
Yeah. Yeah. And that way you can take notes too. But they're going to be part of your, everything's online too. I think they have everything. So we'll let you guys get the step by step, and she's going to walk you through each one. Okay.
Oh yeah, no.
I do.
So there's different ways to get to Datalink from on-ramp. So you can either click on CT Pass up here, or you go down to Enterprise Web Apps here.
So follow her. So click on CT Pass, and then open up Datalink.
So the first report I'll be demoing is the project CAS-CAM detail. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. So if you hover over on projects, and you go down to project CAS-CAM detail. So this page only has one view, project CAS-CAM. CAS is for cost accounting setup. CAM is for cost accounting maintenance. This is where Headquarters Project Control sets up projects in CGI Advantage. So, and districts, yes. So you could use your own project if you like, or you could use the project that's in the handout. But in 11, 18, 40.
I actually encourage you guys to use your own projects through class today because it makes more sense because you understand your data and your project. So if you have that 10-digit advantage number, I just encourage you to use it throughout the entire training. That would be helpful for you. If not, you can use the one we provided.
So you could be either search or search and minimize. Search and minimize, it collapses the filter parameters. And if you're wondering, like, I want to filter down my data more, you can just open it up here, expand panel. So this page shows your project, your phase, the document code, whether it's a CAM or a CAS, the document ID, the document name, whether or not it has any comments or not, the document funding year, document period, created date, created user, and you can expand the columns by just hovering in between, and then just double click it, and it'll expand the column so you can see the full column name. So there's create a user name, the last date, last user ID, last user name, county, post mile start and end, the length, station, area, corridor, and work description. So any of these bright blue means that you could drill down. So you can see what the comments are. So if you click in to any of the document comments, when it says yes, it'll take you to this page. And then it has the document code. So this is accounting maintenance, the document ID, and then these are all the comments. And then if you want to get back to the previous page, just put back to summary. And then, go ahead.
Thank you. Where does Datalink pull from? I'm just curious. Does it pull from Advantage?
Yes, it does.
Okay, because I was just noticing when I looked up my project that there's no post miles in here, and I was just curious, why that would be, and if I would need to go into Advantage and just fix that, or I'm pretty sure for this project there is post miles, so I don't know why it's not showing.
You just have to update it in Advantage, and then it will.
Okay, but what if the post miles are in Advantage but they're not showing in Datalink?
Then you contact. Yeah. Could you contact Datalink if you notice that there's a discrepancy? If there's an advantage and you don't see a Datalink, then we'll look into it and then update it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it should come from the very initial CAS
Right.
document that was set up. And so if it's not on the initial one, and then it just rolls, the next one just goes right into a CAM. So if
Yeah.
it's not on that initial one, but you see that it's an advantage, screenshot it for us and then send it to that data link. I'm not sure why, but it should be matching advantage. And because we get our data every single night.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yes, question?
If there's multiple locations, AMS only takes the one number, so they might have put a 0. Yeah.
Sometimes it's the various, multi.
So the next page I'm going to display or demo is the project funding profile. So if you go to projects and you scroll down to project funding profile. So this page is it shows how your project is funding details set up in the funding inference and the funding profile tables in CGI Advantage. So again, you could use the project that's in the handout or your own project. So 11, 18, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 9. Search or search and minimize. So this one, it displays it by budget fiscal year, major project, and project. So if you click into the project, just drill down, it takes you back to the previous page, like how it was set up. So I'm gonna go back to the summary again. So this one provides the project description. Again, you can expand it by double clicking the center of each column. The project name, project short name, whether the project is active or not, will be true or false. The phase active, ODA reimbursement, funding profile. So I recommend sorting it A to Z. So to sort A to Z, you could click on the column that you want to sort A to Z. Or if you click on the drop down here, it says sort ascending. So I recommend sorting the funding profile so the reimbursement percentages line up. Because in here, so with this funding profile, it's 100% to Caltrans. And this funding profile, it's 88.5% to FHWA and 11.47% to Caltrans. So it provides also the letter of credit, if there is one number, federal program code. Oh, did you have a comment?
On there. The letter of credit is your co-op number. Okay. So that it's actually called that in Advantage. So we didn't change it to co-op, but that's what you would see if you do have a project with a co-op. You'll see that in that column.
Thank you. So it has a federal project number, and then we have the funding line fund, the fire line fund. So if you ever notice the funding line and the buyer line doesn't match, you should contact accounting to help you get it corrected. I think for this one, we can fix it.
You should be able to fix that yourself. There's a discrepancy report we built into this report. Can you go back to the open up the window again? There's a little toggle button in here that says show mismatching attributes. If you ever want to check your projects in your district to see which projects are not set up correctly, and you do that mismatch, then you'll be able to see what's not set up right. And then you've got to go back and either update one of the buyer line or the funding line. So that's what that is.
In this case, we don't have any mismatches.
This project, yeah. Good, thanks.
So you can actually move the columns around too. It doesn't have to stay like how it is right now. So you just drag project name, for example, and then you can move it all the way up to see where double arrows are, and just let go. Like if you don't like the way it's currently displaying, and if you're happy with how it looks, then you just download to Excel. You're clicking here or PDF, but I recommend doing Excel so you can pivot it or display it however you like. And now if you're wondering, I really like this this query, you put save inquiry by clicking here, and then you put an inquiry name. So I'm going to put 11, 18, 1, 2, 3, 0, 3, 4, and 2, 9. Project funding. Okay. Save settings. And then you can also schedule this inquiry to run automatically by selecting here. So you get it daily, weekly, monthly, or accounting period close. Go ahead. Oh, okay, sure. So right here under results, it says save inquiry. You click it and it'll pop up. You can see the option. Let me see. because you have to sign in. Sorry. So we have to sign in first. So right now you're a guest. So once you sign in, then you'll be able to save your inquiry. Do you see it now? So I'm put 11, 18, so I don't forget which project it's for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 9. And project funding profile. And leave the settings, save the settings. And if you want to schedule this inquiries to run automatically, select this box. I don't have a drop down. It's for daily, weekly, monthly, and accounting period close. So I usually like to run it accounting period close, so I know at least I'll know that the data won't change. So if someone else wants to run it the next day, you'll still get the same results. And then you could get it from as of today, so May open to the end of the fiscal year, which is AP 99 or accounting period 99. And you can also receive notifications. So input your name here, your email address here, and then put save. So I'm not going to save it because I'm just demoing how to save the inquiry. Do you have a comment? Do you have any questions? Go ahead. Yeah, I think that's a question.
I noticed that it has when you're saying save the inquiry, and it says save to the folder. I know that there it shows the previous saved inquiries. I'm just wondering where the personal folder is.
So we don't use a lot of the personal folders. You can, but a lot of people don't. It's better to just save them in your personal folder under saved inquiries, because that folder is putting it out for the entire state to see. So not sure that you would want to save your personal inquiry in a folder statewide. Does that make sense? So if you just save it to your own, it would show up in your saved inquiries, and we'll show you where those are as well.
To access your saved inquiries, you'll go to user tools and then all the way down to save inquiries. So this will display all of your saved inquiries. And then if you're wondering, like, what's your colleagues, what do they have as saved inquiries? You could input their S number here, and it'll show all of their saved inquiries as well.
This is a really great way to do your project reports for your PMs, right? So when we cover project by phase and expenditures and budget to actual, you can actually save your inquiry and you can actually send it to your PM directly after, once a week, and they can just open the link. So it's a really great way to do it that way. The funding profile one is not one that I would probably share too much with people, but you can save it for your own inquiry. And then you can delete from in here as well.
Yeah, so this is the delete.
And I'll cover it again when we do project reporting.
So I'm gonna go back up. I also wanted to go back to the second view for project funding profile. So this second view, funding profile budget versus expenditures. Usually people utilize this report to do expenditure adjustments. So this one, so again, sort your funding profile, sort ascending. So your reimbursement percentages align. The project description. So here, the award expenditure budget 40 is your allocations. So you could drill down to see, like, when you were allocated So in period 4, looks like just like it was in and out of 850,000. And then in period 8, which is accounting period 8, it was allocated $292,316. Does anybody have any questions?
So this one, you know how you guys want to do JVC adjustments on your project and you have to send it up to accounting and they're going to say, give me the details, right? Show me the journal where all these expenditures came from and you have to attach it a lot of times to the JVC for the adjustments. This report, go back to summary. On the expenditures, if you were doing this by funding profile, because imagine if you had to do an expenditure adjustment for a specific funding profile, they're going to want the backup details. So you could actually filter by funding profile, drill down, and you're going to get the entire accounting journal of expenditures that you can export to Excel and attach it to your JVC when you send it to accounting. Because they're going to ask for that. A lot of times the form is just rolled up that you're asking, I want to move, $200,000 from phase 3 to phase whatever. They're going to want the journal details to back it up. So this is a great report for a quick drill down attachment. Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay. So I'll move on to the labor report. So employee labor by project ID. So we get the data directly from the timesheets from Staff Central. So if you go to labor, employee labor, we have several views. So organization is more high level, and then it gets more detailed as you go down to the different views. So our most popular report is the program sub-object activity reporting view. So for this report, you can only run one fiscal year at a time. So I'm going to start from the very beginning of the fiscal year, which is AP1 or July of 2024 to current. And then I recommend deleting the appropriation category, just in case like you're charging SB1 funds, because SB1 funds would be 17-18 category, appropriation category. And you can input your project or the project that's in the handout. And any of the red squares, it means that you have to input information in order to run the query. So I'm just gonna put star, which is a wildcard for district, because I want to pull all districts. But you put search or search utilize, so you see the entire grid. Caught up? Okay. So this report will show you by fiscal year, period, employee ID, the employee name, employee work week, agency, SCO unit, class code, whether or not you have a range, the job description of the employee, the serial number, the bargaining unit, district, unit, division, fund appropriation, and what PAC class they belong to. And then we filtered it by project, so it's gonna be all the same project. Then charge district, ODEA, the phase that they charge to, the sub-object, activity, sub-activity, and report. And then we could pull in, you're like, what is this sub-object? So you could pull in the sub-object description.
So this little thing that she's showing you right here, this column, these are hidden. If it's checked, it's visible. If it's unchecked, it's hidden. You as the user can decide, oh, I want to put my activities on, my descriptions on, my unit descriptions. You can decide what you want in your report by just clicking them on and off, okay? So it's pretty user friendly.
And then we also have a new feature where we can put show all columns. So just pull in everything that's available.
Yeah. Instead of clicking them, one click button and it puts them all in. Every report in Datalink, yes. It's a brand new feature. Yeah. So if you hover over any field, there's a drop down menu. And then right at the bottom, it says show all columns. It's a one click button and it opens every possible field on that report that's available. That is a new feature that we added this year. So everyone kept complaining to me, I'm tired of clicking every single visual on.
Yeah, but the only downside is like, oh, I don't want everything in now, so you have to unclick it now. That's the only downside.
Oh, you can never make people happy.
And then, so it'll also show it by regular hours, regular dollars, overtime dollars, temp hours, and temp dollars. These are just employees that are in a blanket or seasonal employees or retired annuitants. They all charge to temp hours. And then compensating time off, hours and dollars, various, and then total hours and total dollars. And then you can drill down in any of these areas. So if you want to know more, like what is this charge? Perhaps this. So this is the CHL document that you can look up in Advantage as well.
Any of the light teal blue is what we call drill down. When you drill down, it's taking you to the entire accounting journal. The journal is where everything posts, right? Every cash expenditure posts to the journal. So a lot of our reports in that light blue take you to the journal. And the journal has hundreds of millions of record rows. So, just be cautious of that when you're downloading, just so you don't overextend the Excel as well. It will it'll memory out on you at
65,000.
65,000 rows.
When you download to Excel, it's a maximum of 65,000 rows before it changes to a CSV.
CSV. And then Excel maxes at 1 million record rows. So let's hope you don't need to analyze a million record rows. The other thing can you go back to the summary? This is loaded rate. So highlight the one for the 1 hour for $90.96.
Just there.
So that's an easy, oops.
Sorry, I clicked
It's
onto
okay.
it.
So this employee for 1 hour charged, and it shows $90.96. I wish we all made $90.96 an hour, but that is our loaded rate, right? So when you're doing your project cost reporting, that's how much the project is getting charged with benefits. That is, medical, dental, vision, retirement, vacation. All of that is what we consider loaded rate. And so you'll see that it's already built into the total cost. Yes, question.
For this particular report, is the ICRP
No.
included?
ICRP hits our operating expense, not labor. So although it's charged labor, right? So anytime 1 hour gets charged and it's a reimbursed project, what happens with ICRP is there's a billing that happens through accounting. It's going to grab those hours, go to that matrix that we showed you, that bulletin, the ICRP earlier. It's going to apply what they call the ICRP rate to bill the locals. And it's going to hit your operating expense budget on your project to object code 093 and 193. So you'll see that on the OE side, not the labor side. Good question. Thank you.
So I just navigate to object class 01. So usually it's loaded to this object class here. And then you can also look at the loaded rate if you go to view labor cost breakdown. It gives you like the breakdown of search minimize.
This one's a fairly newer report. We built this report for our FEMA reimbursement for Fed. They wanted to see how we were actually showing what's the par rate, the ICRP, the loaded rate. So this report that she's going to show you next will actually have it by columns. So if you're ever wondering what was my base rate versus what's my benefit rate, it's going to show you here the breakdown. See, so you've got the monthly rate, the par rate percentage is that right now it's currently at 84.06. That par rate will change sometimes twice a year when accounting does the rate matrix updates to the benefits. That will change, but whatever timesheet hits the date, like if it posted today, it's going to use today's rate. So you may see different rates over a period of 2 to 3 years, right? But you'll be able to see this in this report with all of the base, the par, and then the loaded rate tells you everything. So in case you ever need to break it down, this is a great report for that.
Oh, I forgot. I wanted to talk about duplicate projects as well. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I'm
Any
not sure.
questions on labor? No? There's
Yes.
the labor cost breakdown.
Oh, just this labor cost breakdown here.
Just show her the results again.
Okay.
Yes, question. No, Excel's great. It just maxes out 1 million rows, right? I would say when it's got a lot of columns. So her question was, is it better to use Excel or not? If it's got a lot of columns, take it to Excel. If it's a small set, like it's just phase and project and fund, and go to PDF because it looks really nice on PDF. So it depends on the report. If you're going to hand it to a project manager for a quick, high level formatted report, use PDF because they like that. It's all formatted. It's real pretty versus looking at Excel. So it just kind of depends on how many columns in each report. And did you have a question?
I do, but
Sure. Sure. Okay, we're going to keep moving.
So do you want me to show the labor cost breakdown? You're
Yeah.
welcome. And then, so we just added like this new column for supervisor. Because before we didn't have like the supervisor that ties to the employee name. You would have to drill down to it. Now it's just the supervisor S number is available.
If you have to find the S number, because we're not listing the name here, is the supervisor's name hidden?
Right now we just have it by S number.
Okay.
Let's see if we do have.
So if the name is not there, and sometimes people are trying to get a hold of the employee and they're not answering an email and we want them to do something, why did you charge my project? And, since Prism puts all of those controls in there, it doesn't happen as often. There's not a lot of mischarging going on because they can't do it because it's Prism based, right? Staff Central blocks that from happening. Prior to that change in Staff Central, it was a nightmare with mischarging going on to projects. But if you trying to get a hold of the employee supervisor, you can look up the S number either in Outlook or in Datalink. We have the reference tools. We have a report by employee. You can just copy paste the S number in here. It'll tell you who it is. So you don't even have to leave Datalink and go to Outlook to find out what is this S number's name.
So I also wanted to show the labor dashboard. So that's a new employee labor dashboard. So you go labor and then you scroll down to employee labor dashboard. You can look it up by fiscal year, fiscal period range, or inception to date, or employee work week. So you just put in your project.
There was a question earlier from the gentleman back there was asking why the other report was only 1 year at a time. It's because the journal has so many record rows. But this report will let you do your project labor by inception to date. So if you're looking for total, history of your project, it will let you, and you just change the view. Don't do it, but just show them, show the drop down.
Okay.
Oh, you
I already
did
clicked
inception today. Oh, perfect. Yeah. This one will at least let you see, how much your project since it was opened and active.
Yeah, so it just gives like a snapshot here. This is a temporary employee or compensating time off, overtime, and regular. So this is the number of employees in the different areas, the total hours they're charging, and total hours and total dollars. And you could drill down in any of these areas to get more information. So I'll take you to this page. And do by fiscal year. And then we have a labor by organization. So you can change it to view by district, division, or unit. So this is by division, by total dollars, or you change it to total hours, dollars by type, hours by type. So this will be by hours, and then by unit, which even divides it down even further. And then we have it labor by time period.
Go back up.
Go ahead.
So show them the little show details in the corner.
Mhm.
So if you're on any of these, if you click this, it'll open up and it'll be a list of them, right? So if you wanted to take something out to Excel quickly, let's say go back and do unit, because that has a lot, right? Or even division, right? And then do show details. Now you can see total expenditures by division, and you don't have to do, you don't have to go to the other labor report that we were just showing you. This breaks it down and summarizes it for you by division and how many hours they've been spending. And the same goes for unit as well.
And then we have that labor by time period. Let's collapse this. So you change it to either by period or by week. And then by hours as well, instead of dollars. And then we have a checkbox for exclude prior year adjustments. Anyway,
Show them the toggle button too, the color clicking off and on.
okay.
Mhm.
And then if you don't really care about regular hours, you could just click it and it'll just show compensating time off.
Like just overtime, take off temp as well. Somebody was asking about overtime earlier.
Okay.
So this chart interactively changes. Like you just want overtime, just click overtime and now it gives you the new totals for just overtime. So just these charts and graphs are meant to be very interactive as you and the user. You don't necessarily have to download everything to Excel to run a pivot table to summarize it back up. The charts are meant to give you a high level review visually. And then if you need to drill down for details, then you click on it and it'll take you to the details page. That's what a lot of our dashboards are meant to do. And teach this to your PMs because they're very visual, right? Your PMs, a lot of them are visual. So if they're ever interested, I would show them this one because they'll be like, oh, this is pretty cool. So.
And then we have a labor by position classification. So this is you could do by top 15, or you do all, or top 5. And then you just regular employees only, or compensating time off, or just only the temporary employees. And then we have the labor by project. You need a project phase.
Is this not to make like the next big?
Yeah. Yeah, so everything that's happening in Advantage right now, tonight at 5 p.m., 6 p.m., the ETL will start to kick off from Advantage. And tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. when you wake up and come to work. No, I'm just kidding. It's a little early. Accounting starts at 6.
Yeah.
But yes, Advantage will be up to date and feed it into Datalink. You know, unless there's a hiccup. You guys all remember all those emails that I used to send? Datalink is down. God, I hated sending those emails. It's been pretty consistent with the new upgrade, so we haven't had a lot of hiccups with the ETL, but occasionally there may be a problem. The Datalink up to date will tell you in the top corner. If it's not updated, it'll tell you still 5/12. You can look at that date and you're like, oh, something happened last night with the ETL, but it's usually 24 hours behind.
And then you can filter it down to, any of the different labor charges, regular, overtime. Oh, go ahead.
I use this report every week for the employee work week. For this one, when I download it, it only has the S number and the name. Is there any way to get the unit and the division for this report? Or do you have to do it by the first report that we saw?
There's other reports too. Oh, do you like using the dashboard? Is that why?
I like using the dashboard for the employee work week so that I don't have to download the whole fiscal year and then find my employee work week because I'm doing it per week.
Mhm.
Is there a way to do the employee work week with the unit and the division?
Okay, so that would be a request to do an enhancement. If we don't currently have it from the dashboard, you can send an email to the Datalink email account and send a screenshot and say, hey, could you do a small enhancement to the dashboard by adding these 2 things? Currently, we have a current contract in place for enhancements and new reports. We have planning was very gracious this year to give us some money, and they're willing to help pay for some new enhancements. after this current budget year, next year, if there's a small enhancement that a district is also willing to pay for, we'll have you guys give us your unit and your project ID, and we'll charge it to our contract. But right now, planning's given us about, what did it give us, like $70,000 or something like that,
Yeah.
between last year, this current year and next year. But yes, we'll look at the enhancement, we'll prioritize it, we'll see how much it's going to cost. And then if there's money to cover it in the contract, we'll do it. If not, we'll ask the districts if it's possible for them to help pitch in and pay.
I was trying to think, I was like, do we have a report? The other report, because I don't have our going more detailed. Because we need the other reports for work.
Yeah, if you want details, I would go back to the labor report. But if it's a small feature that could enhance the dashboard, that's when we'll estimate it to see how much it would cost. Yeah.
So I wonder, because then this organization one, I wonder if it will work.
With the unit
Yeah, because that's unit here. Unit, district, and then what other?
work week. She wanted it by work week, unit, district. Yeah,
This
but
one has employee work week as well. And then employee ID, employee name with this report work.
is that what you're looking for? Yeah, see if it's the same thing, because the dashboard drills to this page anyway.
Mhm.
So if it's already there, then we don't need to pay for it to fix the dashboard if that works for you. But yeah, play around with it and just send Nikki an email to the help desk.
And then, I think I covered everything. Let me see. Labor. Dashboard.
Any questions about labor that you're just dying to know? It's always the charging questions. There's a lot of filters. Most of our Datalink reports, you'll see that there's so many different filters. So we're not going to cover every possible question that you could ask, but just take a look at the filters. And then if the filters don't answer your question that you're looking for, change the view. Sometimes another view has additional filters on it. So a lot of times it's just finding the right report with the right filters that you can plug in and ask your question. Who's charging my project in unit 1, 2, 3, 4? Who's charging my project in district 3? How many charges against the 2080 program for my project? There's just a lot of different questions. So your filters help you minimize the data that you're going to receive back. Phase, for example, you don't want to pull everything. You just want to isolate to an earmark phase or the phase 3 or phase 1, right? Use your filters to reduce the amount of data that you get back, because then it's less drill down, it's less journals, and it helps you answer your questions a little bit faster. So, any other questions on labor? Okay. Where are we at on the schedule?
I think we have like about 15 minutes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Nikki.
Okay.
Good job. So, okay, let's see. So we're going to take a break. We're a little ahead of schedule, but that's okay because, I'm going to cover some details. So why don't we take a quick 10-minute break now? Get up and walk around, do what you need to do, stretch, and then we'll come back and we're going to cover budget to actual, hopefully G12, utilities, and encumbrances. Up and walk around, do what you need to do, stretch, and then we'll come back and we're going to cover budget to actual, hopefully G12, utilities, and encumbrances. The project budget 40 to 94 and how we compare them. And if we can, we'll talk a little bit about G12. And I'm just going to say this, I am not a project expert, although I've been here for 34 years. Project management and PMA work, I'm not all of the expertise on CTC and all of that stuff, right? You guys are the experts. So if I can't answer a question, I guarantee you probably someone in this room probably can. So hopefully we can utilize each other to help each other out. So, all right. So let's go to the first report. It's called Appropriation Summary by Project. So if you don't want to get your step-by-step guide and you can follow along, we're going to go to the Projects tab. And we're going to slide down to the second report called Appropriation Summary by Project. And you can click that open. Is this my water? All right. So let me get my step-by-step guide out as well. Okay. So it defaults to the view that says project and phase. That's typically the report that most people want. But inside this report, you can also look at project phase and district, LP2000. So if you're looking for the LP2000 number, there's a view in here for that. We have a project dashboard. It was one of our first dashboards, so it's nothing fancy. And then we have the last one, which is pretty popular, project phase and tasks, for especially if you're looking for those projects for minor A, minor B, with the task number 810, things like that. So I would say the most popular views in this report is going to be project phase, and then if you're looking for a view with the task level. So let's going to stay on project phase. Okay, go ahead and plug in your project ID number or use the one in the handout. I was going to copy this. Okay, let me copy this because I'll probably use it a few times here. All right, and then go ahead and search. Search or search and minimize. Uh-oh, hold on, I typed it wrong. Missing a 0. 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Through. Yesterday's fine. How come I'm not getting any data on this project? 1, 1, 8. There we go. Select. There we go. Sometimes if you get an extra space in there, it won't find it. So you might have to just back it out and start over. All right, I'm going to minimize the panel. But before I do the minimization, you can filter this report by specific phase. So let's say we want to look at only the 1 phase, the 2 phase. Anytime you want to do anything with a phase, use the wildcard. So let's say you have 3 with a wildcard, which we know is the shift 8, because maybe you want all your earmarks, right? You don't want to leave out expenditures if you've got 3, 3E1, 3E2, 3E3. So I always do phase, star, and then search. So I'm going to show you that real quick. This one doesn't have 3 phase. Okay. So let's see. Let's do the 1 phase. 1 phase. There we go. Okay. Now, what this report does is it lets you see how the project was set up by budget year. So I can see that there's some SB1 money, 1718, 18505 appropriation, 25 year, 24 year. I also see that in the 24-25 budget fiscal year, we have some federal. So the F on the end for the appropriation with the fund type 0890. And then you can see over here to the right, how much was budgeted on the budget 69 by phase, by year. And then it's encumbered. So how much is encumbered on this project to date and how much has been expended to date. So this one's a great one for your PMs. If it's a quick report, your PM says, hey, how much have we spent on the 1 phase for my project? Earlier, we were talking about taking it to Excel versus PDF. Let me show you what this looks like on PDF. So if I click the PDF button, it's going to download and then open this up. That is a great, beautiful formatted report that I could just copy, send it in an email, print it out, put it on his desk, her desk, whatever. And it's already formatted. And what it does is it breaks it down by how much money was being spent on the budget year 23-24 versus the 24-25 by fund, by appropriation. And it's doing all the summaries and everything for you. So you don't have to take this to Excel, like I said, and then have to summarize it back up on a pivot table. It's already done for you and formatted. So looking at the reports, depending on how many columns, like I said before, Some look really great on PDF. Some, if it's too many columns, it gets really squished. It doesn't look too great on PDF. That's when I would take it to Excel. Okay. Let me get back here. All right, so let's say you're interested to know a little bit more about the project budget, right? So 7.3 million, maybe you need to find the document number to go look it up in Advantage to get more information. Just like before when Nikki was showing you, anything in this teal blue is drillable. So if I click on this 7.3 million, I drill down, I'm gonna see all the documents that make up that budget. So I can see the BGP, I don't know why they name these labels. I can't even say these sometimes. BGP 69 gives you the full document ID. If you had to go take this to Advantage, you can right click in Datalink and you can copy this. So I don't know if a lot of people don't know that, but you can copy this doc ID, right click, open it, copy, and then go take it to Advantage and open it up in Advantage if you needed to. But at least it will tell you the document that created it, what budget year, fiscal year, if it was a manual role, if it was a CTC allocation, it's going to give you the budget name details. And then over here, all the way to the right, it's going to show you your original budget. Actually, I think it needs to be sorted. Period 2. Yeah, let me sort this by. So period 2 for 23-24, the initial budget started out at 14 million. And then there was a negative 7 million taken away from this project for this phase. And then there was another budget increase for 76. But your grand total now for project phase 1, for the total amount for this budget year is 7.31. So you can see the whole history of what's happening to your project allocation just by a one-click drill down. Okay, you don't have to go to Advantage to do any of this. How many of you love the new Advantage? Raise your hand. Yeah, that's what I thought. No, I'm just kidding. You love the new 4X? No, me neither. I don't like it either. I know. I told Gilbert, I said, it's really unfair that those of us that went through the Advantage upgrade, the original Advantage upgrade in 2010, how many were here in 2010? A lot of us, right? It was really bad. I said, it's really unfair that we have to do 2 upgrades in our lifetime. Like, there should be some like we should have been able to get out before we got to have to go to 4X. I still haven't even learned everything in 4X, so don't feel bad. And I worked for accounting right up until 2 weeks ago. So it's pretty bad. But yeah, you don't have to go to, avoid going to AMS if you can. A lot of our stuff is right here for you, clickable, okay? All right, so that's the budget. But now let's talk about the encumbrances. Okay, same thing. Well, what is this $171,000, right? I can click this and it's gonna tell me what documents, what task orders, what payments have been made. If you scroll down and you drill down to the journal, you'll see the PRC. So a PRC payment, that's just a document that accounting uses to pay a bill. The PRC will go to an automatic disbursement, okay? So when you guys send in your payments to accounting or receipts, oh, you probably don't, right? Somebody else probably does. They'll do a PRC and it'll go to an automatic disbursement. So you're gonna see the full journal of debit in, debit out, debit in, debit out. Question? Let me just go back. So I'm gonna go back up. Back to summary. So right now I'm under encumbrances. So I just grabbed one of them. I just clicked on row 2. I'm looking at the federal. Right now I'm looking at the federal payments, and federal encumbrances, 171,000. Click on it. And then drill down. And then down here, it tells me, oh, task order 2659A. Here's my contract number. So it's 59 owns this contract. And then 11A36 fiscal year 24. If it's got a task order, it'll give me the task order. It tells me the vendor name. It's with Thai International. Here's the vendor invoice number, the vendor invoice date, all the charging practices. It paid against what unit, what division, what district, what object code. This is everything. Object class that we showed you earlier in the beginning. Object classes and object codes, those numbers that we were talking about. you're going to see all of this information on the journal, and you're going to see these numbers, and you're going to like, what is that? What? And if you hover over it, it'll tell you 11 object class. What is that? Oh, it says consultant services. Oh, that's for my A&E payments, right? So you can see them by hovering over, or like Nikki showed you earlier, show all columns. It'll turn everything on, and then you can decide what you want to see in Excel, hide it later. And then all the way to the right, it talks about the encumbered amount. So if I was to sort this by date, right? So if I wanted to sort this by record date, it should put it in order. The very first thing that occurred on my project back in November of 2023 encumbered some federal funds. 322,000 was encumbered. And then, you've encumbered some more, and then you liquidated, you paid some bills, and then so there's all this movement, all the debits and credits to the encumbrances. At the very end, you're still open balance for encumbrances on your project right now. Phase 1 for federal is still 171,000. So this journal shows you your entire history of what's happening with that encumbrance. Okay, and you don't have to go to Advantage and try to find this. In Advantage, it's very difficult to find it anyway because there's a lot of screens, there's a lot of tabs, right? And even on the tabs, there's hidden things, right? You have to open up those. So it's really difficult sometimes to look at Advantage directly. So I like to just get to the journal and then export this out to Excel, and then I can pivot it and filter it any which way I want. Okay? And then the same goes true for the expenditures. So as we liquidate the encumbrance, the expenditures go up. But on top of that, if you wanted all expenditures, again, drill down. This is going to include all payments that you liquidated against your encumbrance, plus anything else, labor, TECs, license fees, went to a conference, right? Anything, any object code that's hitting your project and your phase with federal funds, the journal is going to show you everything, okay? And then the balance, open, unobligated, right? So if you're project manager, a lot of them, they want to see high level. They don't care sometimes about fund and appropriation, but we do, right? We need to make sure that we're balancing by appropriation, by fund, by project, and by phase. That's how we budget. That's how we expend, right? So we want to try to keep to those attributes so that we don't overrun a bucket. If we don't overrun a bucket, we shouldn't overrun the project, right? Now, the project managers will want to see the bottom line. I don't care what budget year it was. They're like, how much do I still have left? Phase 1, $16 million allocation, 212,000 encumbered, 12 million expended. They have 2.9 million. That's what they're looking at as, and I don't know how many of you guys, this is all PMM. You guys are all assistants, right, to the PMs? We don't have PMs in here, right? So we can pick on them. That's good. Okay, good. They want to see bottom line. But if we do things right and we charge appropriately and we allocate appropriately, everything should balance out. But you'll see like line 1, I don't know what's going on with this first row, to be honest. This would be something that I would investigate because we should not have a fund called 0048. That's not a fund. That is a TRA account that somebody probably typed on an encumbrance the wrong fund number. That probably needs to be corrected to hit the right correct fund. These are things that we would be looking for and trying to analyze, right? So if I was interested about what's happening, I click on this 16,000. I go scroll over here and see what document it is. It was a task order that was set up under 0048. We shouldn't be having a fund 0048. So somebody who owns this project in District 11 probably needs to fix this. No one from District 11 is here, correct? Oh, you are? Oh, what division do you work for? That was my home base for 25 corridor. North corridor, okay. So I worked in District 11 for 25 plus years. And then I was in accounting for the last 8, and then I just went to 12. So, well, yeah, so you can go back to fix this. You can send me an email. I'll see if I can help you try to fix it. So quick answers, what's going on. And of course, this one doesn't even have a budget, right? This is why it stood out. It's on its own row. it's an anomaly that we need to kind of look at. But if you look at the budget to actual, every single other budget is in check. There's no overruns on this project. I don't know what project IDs you guys are using, but right now, if you see anything in the negatives, those are the ones where you might need to make an adjustment. Maybe you got to do a JVC, you got to move some funds around, things like that. Question. A journal voucher charge. So it's an adjustment. So if you're trying to move funds or you're trying to move phases, accounting will do those adjustments for you on a JVC. I think it's called a journal voucher charge. Yeah. Okay. Question. An ear. So the ear form goes up to accounting and they create a JVC document. Yeah. Good questions. Okay. So in this report, how many of you guys don't know your 10-digit numbers? Most of you, or so? Because everyone talks in EAs still, right? So this report's pretty cool. You can actually use your EA number. So if you don't know your 10-digit, you can always filter it with, I'll just 43023. If you're going to use EA, I like to use the 5-digit and the wild card on the end. So 43023. And the X for us, we put an X on everything. It's if it's a multi-phase project, right? So I put a wild card, and then you want to use your charge district. Your charge district goes with your EA. So in this case, it's 11, right? If I didn't know this project ID number, and I just did a search like this with EA, it's going to find that project, and it's going to find my 10-digit number. So if you don't know, you can go either way, right? And while we're talking about looking up numbers, how many of you guys work in project control setup? A few of you. Okay, how many of you guys know how to check this report to make sure you don't have a duplicate project? Okay. You know how to do them or you don't know how to do them? Okay, so I'm going to show you. So we know we have EA logs. EA logs go back 35, 40 years. Datalink goes back to 1998. That's as far back as we go. So sometimes project control will try to set up a project and somebody's given them an EA. And if that EA has already been used in 1998, what we don't want to do is set up the new project ID with the same EA, because now you're going to merge expenditures from historical to current, and that's a big no-no, right? We don't want to have the same EA with a brand new project. So before you do project control setup, I come in here and I look at the EA and the charge district. As soon as I hit search, I'm going to see, oh, shoot, there's already a project 1118. How is that to be? Well, because maybe this project was built in 1998. And this one doesn't have, let me use a different example because this one doesn't have. So let me find you something that I can show you. Real example. So I'm going to go show me anything District 11. I always pick on 11 just because it's I should probably start picking on 12, huh? Since I'm in charge of it now. The project setup. Okay, let me get rid of this. 12 star. So I'm searching right now for just any project District 12, but what I'm going to look for is something really old. Okay. Let me see if I can find a really old one. There we go. So I found a project here. Let's see, those are all end phase. Here's one. So in 2001, this project ID, and you can tell that it's an old project because in Datalink, we made up this fictitious project ID number. So if it says 12 EA and then the EA number, that means there is not a 10-digit number in Advantage. That means this is historical information that's coming from our old system called FIDO expenditures. What I don't want to do is set up a project ID called 40234 because that project ID, old EA, has already been used, and it was used in 2001. if I was to do that, what's going to happen is once a month, we run a report called duplicate project. And I'll show you what that looks like. I don't think we have any right now, but there's a report under system admin called duplicate projects. And Nikki and I used to run it, and she'll take over running it once a month. If you do an accidental, picking an old EA that's already been used historically prior to 2001, it'll show up on this report called duplicate project. And then you're going to get a call from Nikki that says, hey, we think you set up the project with the wrong EA. Can you please do a CAM to fix that? Because this project is from 2001 with $250,000, right? And we don't want them to merge together. So does that make sense? Okay. So that's what we do on a monthly. So use this report under project appropriation summary by project to just do a quick run the EA with a star on the end, see if there's anything just to make sure. Okay. All right. This report also lets you, search by fund, PEC, PECT. Maybe you want to see all projects in your district with a specific color PEC to it. So let me do 12 and then let's just, I don't know, let's pick maintenance or something. I can do 208 star, right? So I can say, show me all projects in District 12 that have 2080 money on it, right? Lots of different filters. You use your filters to reduce the number of things that come back to you. In this report, we also have a pretty cool check boxes here. And let me just make sure I'm following the step-by-step. We did that. We talked about Excel and PDF, phase 1. PDF. Okay. Oh, we'll talk a little bit more about saved inquiries too. So let's see, there wasn't 208. I'm just going to pick one. Road bed. Oh, I know why. I'm picking 2080 with the 12. That's probably going to be just your HM stuff, right? How about District 12 Phase 4 with 2080? 2080. Oh, what's my HM? Anybody want to give me I don't remember the PECs. Is it just going to, it's just going to be 8. Well, the PEC though is 208 something. I don't know if this PEC is not going to be 8. No. It needs the 2080. Yeah. 208 0 star. Let's try that. Let's see what we get. I'm just trying to show you how you can just filter a little bit. HM maybe. While that's trying to find, so there you go. So you can try to see, okay, show me any project with phase 4 that's got the 208 something star, and it'll just kind of filter it down for you. But I was going to show you these check boxes too. Sometimes if you want to do a quick check on your district to see if there's any projects that are overspent, you can do the check boxes. So I'm going to do 12 star show overspent allocations only, and I'm going to do that, and it'll just find me those projects that are overrunning, right? And maybe you got to have conversations with your project managers. Let's see what we get. It's a lot of data going back to 1998. It's quite a few years that it's got to search through here. Yeah, that's taking a while to load. Okay. So show overspent only. Remember I was telling you before, if it's got your budget to actual and if it's an overrun situation, you'll see it pretty quickly. It's negative, right? So this particular project, phase 4 from the budget year 22, only got an allocation of 997,000, but they spent over 560,000. So again, just use your filters, use the check boxes. In all of our reports, we give you all these different tools to deal with different things. Subvention, if you're looking for the subvention expenditures, there is a checkbox here for subvention. We automatically exclude it because we don't want those project expenditures duplicated. But if you're ever looking for the subvention, you can click the box and it'll turn it on for you. Okay. All right. Let's see what else is in here. So if I'm going to send this to my PM, maybe I'm going to want to send it to him weekly. 11/18. Some project managers are pretty self-sufficient and, they like to run their own reports, and others not so much. But let me run this project ID. 1, 2, 3, 4. Search. Okay. So earlier when we were doing saved inquiries, so if I do this one, save inquiry, and then give it this project ID name, 1, 2, 3, 4, 29. And then I want to, am I logged in? Yeah. How come I don't have my checkbox? That's weird. No, I don't have my checkbox here to do weekly, monthly. Isn't that weird, Nikki? I'm not logged in. That's weird. Does anybody else see that do you see a little checkbox that says scheduled? Mm-hmm. That's so weird. Huh. I don't know. There should be a box that lets you do scheduling. Nikki showed it to you earlier when you click the scheduled box, and it said you can choose weekly, monthly, after the accounting period closed, and you can put to your project manager's email. What will happen is if you do the scheduling, maybe you want it to go to the PM weekly. You set that up, and then it goes right to their email with a link. And all they do is get the email, they click on the link, and it opens this report that you saved for them with their project ID in it. So they literally just have to click the button, open it, and they can see where their project bottom line is every week. So you don't have to do it for them, but if you want to, you can send it to yourself and then forward it to them if they're not going to open it from Datalink, So I'm not sure why that schedule is not there. All right, so we talked about saved inquiries. And then she showed you earlier how to find your saved inquiries. So once it's saved, if you want to go find it every time, we'll cover it again. Under user tools, saved inquiries. It will list the name of the inquiry. If it's scheduled, you'll see over here, this one is scheduled. Oops, let me go back, hold on. Do that again. This one right here, this row, says scheduled. You'll see if it's either on demand or scheduled, and how many events did you schedule it for? Did you schedule it 4 times, once a week, 12 times, 52 weeks, depending on what you chose, it's going to show up in here. And then if you want it to stop, you don't want to do it anymore, then this is where you would come in and delete it. Okay. Yeah, so if you're under Projects tab, at the very bottom where it says My Saved Projects, every single report that you ever save will categorize it by the tab. Are you under Projects, General Accounting, Labor? All of them at the bottom have your saved inquiries as well, okay? All right. Any questions about project summary, budget to actual? There's a lot of different views in here. The last one just lets you look at it by task. Remember, I was telling you minors 8, 10. minor B, minor A. You can use this one that's by task, and it'll find how much the expenditures are and the encumbrances. But as we know, for minor A, minor Bs, we don't allocate. So you're never going to see an allocation on this one, just your encumbrances and expenditures, okay? All right, there was a question earlier that came up, show me by project 90, 40 versus 90, I think. So let me show you under the, let's see, budget to actual. So under general accounting, everybody go to general accounting. This came up as a question during break. General accounting, budget to actual. We have two views. One is show me the project budget 40 versus the 94. So let's open up that one. And here's the one that does have the PEC in it. I think that, what was your name again that you were asking me? What's your name? Amy. So this is, I think this is what you were asking me earlier, right? Can you show me with PEC? PECT? Everything's here. Fund, PEC, PECT, and then budget 40 to 69. So let's do a district search. You're District 9, right? So let's do, I'm going to type 09 star. And you can look at everything or just leave it as 24-25, which is current budget year, so we don't search too much. So I'm just checking for current budget year 24-25. Show me any projects in District 9, District 4, whatever one you guys want to use, where the project budget 40 does not match the 69. And you'll see it by phase. So in this first row, by program element component, you've got $35,000 on the 40 and nothing on the 69. And then the next one down, you have 5.8 million on the 69 and nothing on the 40. Now, some programs make you match them, some don't. So we built this for maintenance originally. Maintenance was really big on this, especially for HM. I don't know what the other programs, if they care or not, but is this kind of what you were looking for, Amy? Okay. And right now it's automatically excluding any project that's already matching, right? So if it's matching, it's not going to show up. But if you want to see everything, Amy, you would just uncheck the box and get everything District 9. But that's going to be a lot. So I would just leave it. The district 09 star. Oh, you don't see down here? Oh, yeah. Nikki, can you see what view she's on? Are you on the 4069? Yeah. Okay. So great, Amy. So we solved one problem, right? You had like 5 of them. I sold one. Yay. Or 1 for 4. 1 for 5. Okay, so any questions on this one? This one's pretty straightforward. It's just comparing 94 to 69. All right, the next one, which is show me the 90 versus 94. I don't think most of you need that. Headquarters budgets wants this. The 90 is the enacted budget, comparing it to the project budget. So headquarters budgets will use the next view, but I don't see districts using this one very much. So let me just search. I'll just show you what it looks like. So they're trying to balance everything to finance. How much did we get from the enacted budget? And then how much of the project budget 94 has been set up? So I don't find this one too useful for most of you guys. So, but it's there. Okay. Let's see. What else do I want to cover? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is what happens. I feel like what's happening with that one, and it's been a long time since I've researched it, but what I remember is when you use the QRG to do an RQS, to do an encumbrance, originally it starts out as 0048. And then when it goes through the funding profile, it goes and it changes to the correct fund. But what I think I remember is what I would find on the RQSs is that somebody typed in 0048 in the fund field. They didn't just let it go through the accounting system and let true funds a post. They accidentally typed 0048 in the fund field. I think that's what I remember some of the mistakes were. And it was a while ago that I looked at that. Mhm. Yeah, so they probably need to maybe work with accounting to see if they can change the fund to the ultimate fund, to the true fund, because if it's hitting 0048, it's hitting the TRA account in accounting, and it's not hitting the true ultimate fund, which is project budget fund. So maybe, we can work with Lenka in accounting. She's really good with encumbrances, and maybe they just have to do a correction to the CT document, the contract itself, where they fix it. I don't remember. It's been so long since I remember researching it, but yeah, you want to add something? I think I saw, thank you. Transportation revolving fund, yeah. So it's basically all state funds. It's all state money. 0042, there's like this account. It's like a bank account that accounting has. And so everything hits that first until it goes through funding profile. And then it reduces the 0048 and goes to ultimate fund. That's how it works. That's how it's supposed to work if we don't type it wrong. Does that work? Does that help? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. G12. How are we doing on time? I think we go till 4:30. Okay, G12. Under projects, G12 summary, there's a couple of views in here. The one that you guys probably are going to want is the project summary report. So if you drop down to the G12 project summary, that's not in your handouts. I'm just giving you bonus things today. I thought if we have time, if we're ahead of schedule, I would show this to you guys. You guys were talking about G12s earlier. So G12, let me just pick in District 11 again. That's fine. All right. So if a project has a G12, you're going to see the phase, how the project was set up, what was the initial amount, and what's the current amount, and what was the increase. So let me see if I can find one increase. Here we go. Here's a good one. So let me grab this project ID so I can get rid of everything else. So if you come in here and type your project ID, you should get a history of what happened to your project by phase. And you'll see, for example, on the 3 phase, okay? The 3 phase initial budget was $4 million. The current budget is 4.3, which means there was an increase of 265, it looks like. Well, that doesn't even mathematically add up. How's that possible? Increase, decrease, 265, 59. Increase to G12 increase by, the budget increased by $265,000 on, what day was this one? This one doesn't have a record date on here, sorry. It just gives you the, oh, did I not go back far enough? Yeah, good, thank you. So this happened on 2/15 of 2017. There was an increase to that budget, but the math is not adding up here. 4 million, let me double check. 4 million, does it match here? 4 million, that's correct. 3 million, 4.2. Ooh, it's here. 4.3 budget amount here. That's correct. Yeah, I would expect to see that this says 300,000. So, yeah, good. Yeah, I'll screenshot. I'll send it to you, Nikki. So when you guys encounter things like this, it's critical. You might think it looks weird. You're like, oh, that seems weird. It's really weird and it's a bug and we need to fix it. So when you see these things, please, please, please send them to the Datalink help desk so that we can have the consultant fix it. Sometimes the summary levels and the journal levels get out of whack and they just have to go refresh the database. So anyways, this is what this G12, it's got the history of everything. You can see all by phase increased or decreased, okay? And then when you drill down on the current amount, you'll see the documents, all the documents that made up all of those changes, right? So you've got the full history here if you ever needed to go back and look at all your G12s. Any questions on G12? Yes, question? That you know has G12? Uh-huh. As of yesterday? Okay, what's your project ID? Donner Summit? I'm getting data. Are you not, your resolution, is your resolution not able to see the bottom grid? What was that? Okay, she'll look. Yeah, this one definitely has G12. I thought you said 03. Is this the correct project ID? Yeah. So it's probably just, maybe it's not summer, it's not finding it? Yeah. Any questions on G12 while we're in here? No? Okay. All right, utilities. So prior to going to project control and shutting down your project, it's critical that you guys check your utilities. So under general accounting utilities page, there's a view, go ahead and go there, called utility summary. You guys are getting bonus things today. All right. And then I'm going to switch over to encumbrances after this. There's a view in here called utility account summary. If I plug in my project ID, and I'll use the one that we've been using, 1118. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 9. This is going to tell me if I have any utility accounts set up on my project. I don't see any on this one. Let me use 11. Just search for phase 4. Just find something for you. So if you have any project that's going to be transferred to maintenance, right? And maintenance is going to take it over as owner operator after construction. We got to get the paperwork into accounting to switch over those accounts. And those accounts include water meters, electrical lines, any of that. Cell phones, sometimes I'll see cell phones assigned to an RE in construction. We need to get that cell phone redone to a new project ID. If that RE is going to be coming off that one project, they're going to go to a new project. You have to submit paperwork to accounting in order to start charging the cell phone to the new project ID that that RE is going to be in charge of. So what you would do is run this report, and you can run and make sure that it's active projects, active accounts only. There's a status in here called active status. So if I change it to active only versus all, now I'm going to see a project ID with active. And just imagine, let's just use one as an example. This project ID 66. Let me grab one here. I like to use real examples here. Okay. So if this was a project that we were going to shut down and you're going to go to project control and say, hey, we're done with construction, phase 4, we're done. Somebody needs to turn in paperwork to shut off all of these accounts. And this account is for fixed phones, water and sewer, mobile phones, all kinds of stuff. Verizon Wireless, City of San Diego, Otay Water District, California American Water, doesn't matter. Every single account has to have paperwork submitted to accounting to make sure two things. Make sure the last invoice has been paid on this account, because sometimes they're a month to 2 months behind before we shut down the project and the phase. If you shut down the project, phase 4, too soon, the utility bill is going to reject. It's going to sit in the rejected file in accounting until somebody can clear that rejected account. And what's going to happen is all of a sudden, when we finally go to clear it, your expenditures are going to spike. You think your project is done spending, but you've got $200,000 worth of rejected utilities. And as soon as those clear, your expenditures on your project are going to go through the roof. And it's been 6 to 8 months later. So we're always double checking prior to, and I believe in project control, there's a checklist. Correct me if I'm wrong. There should be a checklist that says prior to shutting down any phase, make sure there's no utilities attached to them. And like I said, if it's a cell phone, work with your local district ATR person to get the ATR paperwork to change the project ID to a new project ID. Okay. Any questions on utilities? Okay. You can also run utilities to see what your project expended. So we have lots of reports. You can do payment by history, payment by summary. So let me go back to this one. Let me grab one of these accounts. I'm just going to grab one. If you want to use the expenditures, you would hit expenditure summary by year or by total history, and then you can search by account number. I just copied one over here, but I would delete everything historically. I want to go back as far as I count on this account. Put it in the wrong one. Hold on. It goes under utility account, not summary. Search. So California American Water, this account spent $17,000 on that project ID, right? So again, you can look at history of how much your project has spent on utilities. Any questions on utilities? No? Okay, encumbrances. Let's see, encumbrances, general accounting. Okay, next, we're gonna go to the next step-by-step called project encumbrances. All right, so you're gonna go general accounting. You're gonna slide down to encumbrances and expenditures. And then you're gonna slide over to encumbrances by vendor. And then select that one. Oh, sorry. Encumbrances by vendor. Okay. Okay, once you're in here, is everybody in this report? Okay. The most popular one is by project. The view, if you change the view, go down to where it says project and phase. Go ahead and select that view. Okay. Go ahead and type in your project ID or use the one in the report. And then delete. Where it says appropriation category 2425, it defaults always to the current year, but you want to find all of your encumbrances for your project, you can. Yeah, go back to where? The view. So on the view, it's all the way down here. It says BFY encumbrance project base. And then let me just search 2425 and see if we have stuff so we don't have to get too much data. Okay. Yeah, we do have some. So, okay, so did everybody run their project ID? Question? Yes. Oh, you got to minimize your resolution. Take it down to about 80%. You'll see it. Oh. Anything that's in a red box and you want to get past that, you can use the wild card. Yeah. So project ID, and then I don't have any red boxes, but if you do, you can put a star. So what I just asked for is show me my current project for current year encumbrances using 24-25 money. And then I did a search. And what it's going to show me is that I have 2 districts, 59 and 11, is set up using my project ID. It looks like it's A&E. So you got 2611 object class. Object code is 232 A&E funds. I have the consultant's name. We've got contracts set up with Lynn International, AECOM, Expenditure US, and West Coast Aerial Photo. Here's the task order. So they're all task order TOs. And then there's the contract number. Okay. And then over here, it tells you who created it, who requested it, when was the last time we paid this bill, service to and from dates for this contract, and then what's the encumbered amount, paid amount, and open balance amount. So current encumbrances for this project is $72,000. We've paid $70,000 already. We barely have anything left from this project with task orders for current year. $1,400 is left. And you can do the same with, all budget years. So I'm going to take out the 24-25 for just a minute and then put a wild card. I'm going to search everything now for this project. Now I get a whole bunch more, right? I can see going as far back as possible. I've had a lot of different contracts. 59, 11A, task order 5, task order 44, 23, different contract numbers, different task order numbers. And if you want to search on just one contract at a time, maybe your project has one contract, you can just use the filters here to pull the doc ID. So let me find one for an example. Let's use this one. Let's say I know that there's a contract and I want to see all task orders to it. If I use the doc ID field and I type in my contract number, 11A 3512, and I put a wildcard on the end and then search, I get every task order associated with that contract, okay? So now I've asked the question, show me all the contracts with a project ID that I'm looking for. How many task orders do I have for that set up? It'll tell me I have, let me put it in order, doc ID order here. I have task order 3, task order 13, and task order 22. So 3 task orders on this contract with my project ID and all the encumbered amount and closed amount, and if there's any open balance. So in this particular contract, there's nothing left, 0. Other contracts, there's going to be open balances, okay? Any questions on encumbrances? It's pretty straightforward. I mean, you guys can use these filters to ask 1,000 different questions. Maybe you want one particular division that's charging your task order expenditure encumbered. Use your filters like I told you before to isolate. Question, yeah?
I'm just this is not about looking up the report, but since you do work with Datalink, I don't know if you might have the answer. I know that in some instances, some encumbrances are set up by some people, and then encumbrances might go for multiple years. And let's say the person who originally encumbered the funds retires.
Mm-hmm.
Who's like the best person to contact to clear any open encumbrances that might not need to be expended anymore?
So typically your district resource management branch, what district are you from?
District 7.
7. So typically your resource budget staff will help with encumbrances. If that person's retired, it should be then transferred to a new contract manager, okay? So as long as the new contract manager has edit rights in advantage to a CT document, they can edit that encumbrance and move the encumbrance up or down, right? They can do that. If you're going to move it to somebody new that doesn't have the CT edit rights, you have two options. Ask your budgets office to help you, or get edit rights through security and workflow. And you just fill out the form and say, I'm going to be the new contract manager, or whoever is going to be. Then you fill out the form, you send it to security and workflow, they give you edit rights to the CT document. So that would be my suggestion. Any other questions, encumbrances? No? Okay. In this report, on the closed amounts, so if you're in here and you're like, oh, we've got task order, let's see, task order 3. Task order 3, we paid $960. If I click on it, just like before, and then collapse my panel, I can see the invoice number right from here. I can see everything that was paid. And if I scroll all the way over here, this one, oh, there's no vendor invoice. Hold on. Did I click on the wrong? I might have. I clicked on the encumbrance. You got to click on the closed amount. Closed amount is paid. Closed amount means paid. When you click on closed amount paid, the invoice number will be right there. So if you're ever trying to reconcile, you should see the invoice number. There it is right here. Scroll just a little bit. $836 for this contract, paid on 10/27. So you don't have to go to Advantage. You don't have to try to find the PRC payment that made it. All you have to do is drill down and say, oh, 836 got paid. I know that my contract is fully paid because I was waiting for this payment to clear, right? And you can check it to make sure. If you don't see an invoice paid, you know it's still in flight and accounting still processing. 45-day payment, prompt payment act, 15 days for you, 15 days for accounting, 15 days for SEO to pay, right? So you can track your payments by just clicking to see the history on these, okay? All right. Those were all the topics I believe we were going to cover, and I'm going to leave the last time for open questions of, okay, show me how to do this, show me how to do that. Because I'm sure there's other things that you do on your desk every single day that you're curious about. And then we'll do trivia and prizes. Is there anything you're dying to know how to do? Or it's been a long day and you guys want to go to happy hour? Hey, I've been up since 4 a.m. traveling to get to Sacramento. I'm ready for happy hour. Oh, shoot, this is being recorded, huh? Go ahead.
I just want to say something really quickly. A lot of the reports that you guys went over are really useful, particularly for expenditures. There's I know that every district handles their things differently, so some might be redundant, but one that I think it's really useful and for people to take into consideration is the encumbrances and the utilities as well, just because we're going to have a discussion about closeout later on. But I think before we close out a project, we have to make sure that there's no encumbrances left and that there's no utilities active, because otherwise it's going to continue hitting the project. So when we submit the final voucher, budgets might come back to us and like, why are we closing out this project if there's still expenditures being incurred?
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. And as PMSU support staff for your PMs, you know, we're giving you the tools to run these things, to answer all these questions so that when it gets to accounting and final vouchering, everything's been cleared. You don't have to worry about making adjustments and opening. The worst thing is to try to have to reopen a phase to clear something, because as soon as you open a phase, some other expenditure is going to happen, right? So if we do our due diligence, we're proactive, we're checking all of this stuff. When it gets to final voucher, it should be pretty clean, right? That's the goal anyway. Any other questions before we do trivia? Okay. All right, so we just have a couple. We had 4 modules today. So our first question, and let's see, we're gonna I'll just put them up here. They're really cute. You can choose a pen, and they have really cute quotes like "Be curious" or "Try your best." They just have little inspirational quotes. So there's pens to choose from. I don't know if it's going to stay up there. Well, I'm going to leave them down here. You can just come up. Then we have these little keychains if you want to lock your desk or something. And then these are just little journal books. So we just want to do something fun for you guys. So, all right, our first question is CAS-CAM setup on the funding profile. When setting up a funding profile, it must always be equal to what? You want to raise your hand? First to raise your hand? What was it? 100%. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Come on up. Come on down to the Price is Right. All right. Next question. CAS-CAM report is a report that provides the blank of the project setup. The CAS-CAM report, the history. We have another winner. Come on up. All right, number 2, module 2, employee labor charging by project. How can you search for an employee only charging to your project? Did you cover that?
What was it?
Do you remember?
Oh no, sorry, we didn't do that.
Oh. Okay, on the labor report, if you wanted to look for just one employee charging your project, do you know the answer? S number employee. You got 2 winners. Come on up. Yes.
Sorry.
So look at by S number employee name. Yes, on the labor report. So 2 winners. Come on up. Okay. Next question on the labor. If you want to automatically send this report to the PM, how do you do that? Yes. Save inquiry. 2 winners. You guys, come on up. Both of you come up. Yeah. Yeah. All right. 3rd module, project budget to actual expenditure report, which was our appropriation summary by project. Why do we use the wildcard feature on phase? Who said that? Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Come on up. You can get another one. It's fine. I bought a whole box of this stuff. Amazon's cheap, you guys. That was before the tariffs. Okay. Let's see. Next question. Where can the SB1 rules of a project be found? We covered it very early. Yes. Yes, the counting bulletin. Ding, 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 ding. I didn't, yeah.
Okay,
Good point, Nikki. I didn't show this to you when we were doing the project reporting, but when we were talking about SB1, if your project is SB1, let me just pick a district here, just so I can show you guys. 12 and star. See, you guys thought it was going to be boring in the afternoon. We're not boring. Okay, let me find something just so you can see. So the SB1 bulletin that she showed you, we take the SB1 bulletin and we wrote code into Datalink to label that for you. So I'll show you on this report how it breaks down the labels. And then there's still a couple more questions. So let me find SB1. Watch District 12 doesn't have it. Do they not have SB1? Nah. Oh, you know why? Because you got to do all. Duh.
Okay.
So in this report that I was showing you, the budget to actual, there's this SB1 program. Say all, show me all SB1 projects in District 12. As soon as you do that, it will put the label that comes from the bulletin, ATP, SCCCP, et cetera, et cetera. It does the math behind the scenes for you, and it does the label. There we go. Now you can see by program, shop, bridge, culvert, and then you can use this filter to only look at one. If you want to only find, show me all projects in District 12 that are shop, bridge, culvert. Change the label, change the filter, and it will only find SB1 projects like that. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So we talked about that. Okay, module 4, encumbrance by vendor, project, and phase. How can you look for contracts with task orders? It was the last thing I did. I showed you guys. You want all task orders on a contract. How can you pull all task orders on a contract on the encumbrance by vendor page? Let me go back there. You guys remember? Yeah, you can, but if you want to look for one contract with all task orders, you would type in your, oh, who answered? The contract ID with a wild card on the end, and it'll pull all your TO, TO1, TO2. So both, you guys can both come up. Okay. Last question. How do I see all the paid invoices for that row? Someone just said it. Closed them out. Yes. And it was the blue link. Yes. Come on up. And that was it. That was all the questions that we had from class. So, good. You're welcome. Okay. Anything else before we end? I know we're getting close to, I don't want to go till 5. I'm sure you don't want to go till 5. Any last minute housekeeping from the back? So if you guys have follow-up questions, which I know you will, you're going to get to your desk and you're going to say, what did Meredith and Nikki say? It's okay. Just send an email to the Datalink help desk. Nikki will respond. She's really great about getting on Teams and showing you screenshots. If any district wants training, you know, you can huddle together your whole team, take them in a conference room. She'll do a Teams training. No problem. I'm officially off the project. And so she's going to be your new face of Datalink. So we have the same shoe size, right? Just kidding. All right. Yes, question, yes?
This is just wondering, for how long were you the project manager for Datalink?
Since inception, which was 2011. So Datalink's my baby. We designed it from the ground up.
You're letting it grow, or like
My baby's growing.
Go.
He's going off to college now. Yeah, we created it from scratch in 2011 because when we went live in 2010, Info Advantage was a mess. Who likes Info Advantage? Yeah. One person. I hated Info Advantage and it was very difficult. And there's a lot of things that you don't know how to do. So we took the thinking for you and we created Datalink. And so, yeah, it's been 14 years? Oh, yeah, I'm a little sad. It's a little bittersweet, but you're in good hands and it's pretty sad. So anything else? No? Oh. Yeah, we're up to a little over, we're close to 400, I think now, views, different page views, etc. And like I said, if you have a new idea, send it over. If there's money in the contract, we'll get it done. And if not, maybe a district can help pay, you know, if there's money. So, all right, guys, that's it.
All right. Thank you, Meredith and Nikki.